That's right, Alex. We walked to the spot where they're checking off boxes. That's right. Oh, Alex had a great squat session yesterday, boss. Dude, when I started lifting, I didn't have no range of motion. Couldn't put any weight on there. Oh, I'm getting way the F down now. Way the F down. I saw some poor dude in there. He's probably an older dude about my age, and I saw him doing those sissy squats, and I was like, dude, I didn't say anything to him. He had headphones in, you know. I'm at a gym, like, you normally know everybody, so I didn't know, you know, it's kind of weird. But I was like, should I say something to this guy? If someone had said something to me, I might have been offended. You know, be like, who's this chump? Who's this chump telling me to go deeper? You know? That's how I would have told him. Just do air squats until you get the weight, buddy. Until you get the range of motion, just keep doing air squats, man. I don't care if you do 10 pounds. Just get that range of motion, Mo's. But, you know, with a little ego in there, you're like, I want to go. I want to do something. You know, I want to put some weight on. Yeah. You get that ego involved, then you start doing sissy squats, and then your life is gone. It's over. It's like somebody in the under 1,000 cohorts doing opening work, buddy. That's what it's like. That's a great metaphor. I don't know how many people will understand that, but I think that's a good one. A quad pump. Okay, my friends, let's get into it. We have a big show today. And, we got a lot of people going on today. Lots. And they all have something to say, too. So hopefully I will get through this. This might break me. We're going to start at the top with Master Toaster. After some disastrous tournaments in the summer, I dropped down to 1,900 FIDE. At first, I was too proud to drop down a cohort. But after seeing Jesse be brave enough to do it himself, I did it too. Okay, there we go. Now that I again gained some rating, I wanted to wait until my ChessCom caught up. Now that it did, I'm finally ready to graduate again. One of the things I have to start doing again is to analyze my games. Lumbos, thank you for rating us. I did analyze a game recently against Nola, so if you want to look at that one, look at that one. I'll try to start looking at other games as well, maybe not as detailed, but it's still better to look at some key moments than to not analyze them at all. A couple of months ago, I also started following private lessons, so hopefully that'll show up in the future in my tournament games. Great. Yeah. So also, actually, Master Toaster, I think you are in a spot where, like, the rating inflation that happened in March of last year is going to catch up to you soon. So, like, you should imagine maybe not only your improvement, but there's little mini booster jets attached to your rocket ship, man. I think maybe you'll be able to make some good progress now. I think for like the over 2,000 crowd, like that inflation, it's going to work in there, but it's going to take a little time. But for where you are, dude, yeah, we should see a lot of inflation. Okay, 28 from Belgium, that's great. We got a tactics rating that is very commensurate with where dude is at. Is there a Belgian club? They have Belgian Dojo, dude. We got 15 people from Belgium, man. That's amazing. The free dojo was included. Okay, interesting. See, that's a little question I had about that. We are trying to make the dojo, you know, to try to make the free dojo kind of cool. And I didn't even know you could be in the clubs being part of the free dojo. Okay, so here we go. Activity, what has dude been doing? Lots of games and analysis. This looks great. I'm not going to complain. The heat map over here, you know, if we're going to say something, it would be to ask for more consistency. When we look at activity 2, so there's this graduation. And anyways, I was just going to say, if you are analyzing with a coach, you should definitely log that in your business over here. Oh, cool, Lumbos. Yeah, I did this review of Intermezzo, a chess novel. Came out yesterday, I think, on our channel. We didn't have a guy for the thumbnail, so the thumbnail is one of our very worst. I don't know. And soon I have a Fisher vid coming out. I did these videos ages ago, but they never. We had our own little issues going on. Okay, so Quad XE, does the round robin count as a classical game when it is 30-30 game in my cohort? If the round robin says a certain time control, then that's the time control that will count, right? The lower the cohort, the more, the faster it'll be. All right, we're going to look at this game over here, Copinola. Look at these. You can tell those are fancy people, by the way. When you got a Van in your name or a Fawn, you're a fancy person over there in Northern Europe. Okay, so clickos. Let's see if we got a time. So, beautiful time graph. One of the things, if you're joining us from yesterday, that I just want to point out, I'm going to do a video on this very soon, is that once you get to the higher cohorts, they use their time, you know. And when higher rated players then look at how lower rated players don't spend their time, it's like, oh, this is really interesting. Anyways, I got some thoughts on it. I'm working on it. And that is what it should look like. Yeah. So, very aggressive. So, he thought a long time on this move, c5. And now goes for this setup with e5. And these are great notes here, right? So e4, d6, bishop d3, knight d7, knight e2, queen e7. That's this very logical play so far. Black, you can tell, has lost the battle of the opening. And what we mean by that is just that they are the ones who've tanked a little bit and don't have necessarily a clear plan of what to do next. And right, definitely, he's correct. We don't want to castle yet. Black doesn't want to because we're going to get rolled over there. Yeah. So, white seems like many separate moves we could do. Knight g3 was played. I like knight g3. It's very concrete. And now black goes for it with h5. Very ambitious. I think g6 would be the move that I guess I would want to talk about, though. What about yield g6? Queen a4. Interesting. And black plays what I'm going to call a high-class looking move here. King d8. To my mind, I don't know about h5, by the way. Not 100% on this move. Like, you're letting me in, Baus. You know, your variation was knight f5 here. Now you play h4. I don't know if h4 is necessary. This looks very dangerous for black. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Again, I'm not sure I understand h4. Bishop g5 makes a lot of sense. You know. You can always play, and then, but you're right, the knight e3 thing is going to be very strong. If bishop g5 you don't like for whatever reason, a4, beautiful position for white. Beautiful. Okay, so queen a4, king d8. I think that, you know, it's a ballsy move. Whether we like it or not, it's a ballsy move. And, yeah. When I say whether we like it or not, I guess I just mean maybe there's some objective problem with it, but it's positionally, it's pretty amazing. In our book, which I think is part of a cohort that's close to this one, you got this 45 techniques of positional play. And he has some great examples from Petrosian doing things like King D8. So this is cool. All right, this is a fun game. H4. Let's read what you said. Like I said in the comments, white wants to play on the king side as the queen side. It's just too hard to penetrate, as I show in the variation after rook b1. That being said, I still want to make my presence felt on the queen side. Okay, so he does a variation with rook b1. Now, by the way, one of the reasons to me that knight f5 followed by a4 is very just thematic is I want to put the pawn on a5 and just put it there. I just want to put it there. And then if I'm going to play queen a4, I'll play queen a4 then. You know, I'll play queen a4 then. So that's the thing about queen a4. I'm a little bit like, I don't know. All right, king d8, h4. I don't know about h4. I don't actually get it. Okay, that makes sense. Now bishop g5. Now what you are doing is, yes, you are annoying your opponent. You are playing to annoy your opponent. Okay. At no point does black consider g6. I don't know why. If I was black, I'd strongly be thinking about g6 and all of these situaciones here. All right, now rook b1. He's just trying to improve. Knight g8. What's the point of knight g8? Yeah, I don't get it. I thought his intention was going to be to play knight b6. Give you a question, you know, with the intention of playing queen a4 next. I thought that was his whole idea with queen e8. So f6. So one of the things that's interesting is you did annoy him, and then, as Nimzovich says, the threat is greater than the execution. And so now he's really mangled his pieces. And it's time to play knight b6, I think. Okay, now knight e2. There it comes. Oh, you took? You took? Oh, I wasn't expecting that. No. In general, I want you to keep the ladies on. Now, is there a way out of it for you? I don't know. We might have already, I mean, it's been so many moves, he didn't play knight b6. But at this point, are we already committed? Maybe. Anyways, I don't like it. I would prefer something like queen b3. This whole thing with knight b6, now we've really, I don't want to do it. So hold on. So here, queen e8, you played rook b1. We need to get ready for this knight b6 thing. A simple move to play, well, actually, what are we saying? So a simple move here would be queen a5, and then he can't do it to us anymore, right? So I think both players didn't appreciate the power of knight b6, and then you trade, after which he's fine. No problemo. You like your position. Everything is ready for me to break on the king's side, while black is still underdeveloped. Is that true, though? Look at this thing. You have a space advantage, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think there's any reason to think that black is worse now. He loses his mind with f5. Now, just as in the lower cohorts, you often see people play moves that before they're developed, right? This is basically what's going on here. f5 is completely losing his mind. This is cool for black, that he's got all these pawns and dark squares. You should leave it there, because your main asset is this. Once f5 happens, then the square becomes a thing, right? Also, he's activating your dog. Your dog. Okay, so what should he do? Probably rook h8, or bishop d7, one of those moves. Chess isn't hard. Chess isn't hard. Just bring him out, bud. Bring him out. Yeah, though, you have your own problems over here. Okay, so f5, poor move. Bishop g5, probably fine. Feels logical to me. G6. And now do we have a screamer? Let's see. Knight g3. And here we're saying that g3 is going to be too powerful on the next move. Okay, this is fun and interesting. He comes up with this. Did you play f4? Good move. Okay, it's at least clever, rook f8. I don't know if I believe in it, but it's clever. Okay. And now knight g1. This is getting weird. And you talk about rook g1. By the way, I really like your annotations here. A question I would have would be pawn takes, and then a simple move like king e3. Because can he move? No, I don't think he can move. I don't think he can move. You know, I don't think he could ever move. And then he's hosed. And we have things like knight g1, f3. So this would have been a moment in the annotation to take a momentito. Okay, good. That's definitely the trade you want. He gives it to you. I wouldn't have given it to you. I would have thought about bishop d7. Good. Now we're set. Now he's definitely got grief. Okay, did we find the move f5? Very nice. You don't like it? You don't like it though. Oh, baby. Wait, I got to know what's wrong with f5. You're talking about knight e2. Knight e2, okay. Okay, knight e2, I understand what you're saying. Let's give f5 a try here. Good. And now he needs some kind of move. Okay, so rook f8. I like your position a lot here. Good. Interesting. Black probably played this to get counterplay. Right, and you talk about king e7, king d7. And you look at bishop f6, and you say after knight e4, knight takes king e8. If anyone is better, it is black. Aha, interesting thought. So you talk about f6. Good analysis, by the way. Yeah, and you're going to be put into Zugzwang. Okay. Now, I just want to stress, though, there's no way you're worse here. You don't have to play f6. You only want to play f6 if you're truly penetrating. And if we're going to complain in this position, it's that, well, your bishop, it's hard for him to get around town, as they say. Interesting. Okay, so when we go back, I'm spending too long on this game, but it is very interesting. So also, I just so promising here. Look, we'll go here, here, here. He's got to defend this coconut, right? Knight here, here, here. I mean, this looks terrible. I can do all kinds of things here. I can begin with knight f5, knight g7, for example. Okay, let's look at what happened. Dude played b5, snip. Thank you very much, and he's gone. Welcome to the dojo. Easy chess. Very nice. Ah, great. Here my opponent gave up. That was a great game, dude. That was a great game. One of my hopes for the dojo, by the way, is we get more players in the upper cohorts. And I was looking at it today, and we have a pretty good cohort in 2000, 2100. And we just got a guy showing up in 2200, which made me think about it, you know. And the fact is, there's just not that many players. You look worldwide, you start going up there, there's not that many players. But we need, for a healthy ecosystem, for those top players, we need more. So, Master Toaster, great you're here, and you're joined here by Nathan. Nathan says, I've spent the last month working really hard playing and analyzing my games, and it's paid off. I'm proud of the work I did, and I'm ready to fight through the 19 to 2000 cohort. That's great. Now, Houseline is here. Oh, I blew it. Hold on. I'm supposed to do it this correct mundo way. Now, as you can see, my friends, Nathan, he has committed himself, especially in January. So it looks like a New Year's resolution. That's what that looks like. That's really great. Okay, and he's getting ready almost for the next cohort, dude. Look at that. He had a big spike here. Now, I will say this. When you are playing at this 2200 in ChessCom, the level of cheaters that you are going to face, I mean, it's incredible. So hopefully you can play in like the dojo round robins, things like that, or the FIDE. And I'm going to just guess that you have not been as active nearly as much in the FIDE there. USCF as well. At some point you need to switch. And actually, here's a real bummer for you to think about. Here's a real bummer, Nathan, for you to think about. The dojo, once you want to go into the 2000, 2100 category, there's, with rare exceptions, I think there was one exception, we're saying you need an OTB. You need an OTB for that. It makes sense, because for one, there's so many cheaters, and two, yeah, you're 2000 now. It's time. And I realize it would be a hard ask because your rating is low and feel like so depressing. Be like, oh, I was there, Bouse. I was there. You know. Okay. Tactics rating is also suggesting that this might be kind of a blip over here, Nathan. So don't, just keep your expectations real. You know, keep your expectations real. I know you might see that and be like, I'm 10 points away from graduating. And these data points, you know, suggest maybe not quite so fast, right? Okay, here we go. Clubs. All right. Oh, Nathan's in my area. Heat map, and he's a heat map hero too. I like that, dude. Yeah, you could tell it wasn't a New Year's resolution as a heat map hero. Quad says we need to create our own 2,000 plus players, and we are. We are, for sure. Okay, here we go. Activity. Done a lot of work. Looking great. All right. Games. And here we have, this is great, looks like a OTB. Oh, Nathan is a kid, dude. Under 16. Well, this is important to know, Henry. Or Nathan. This is important to know. If you're under 16, you're going to be flying. But when Quad says we're going to make them ourselves, we're talking about you, buddy. You're the one. You're the one who's going to be flying up there. Nathan, I'm pumped that you're with us, buddy. Okay, let's look. Here is our time graph. Unless Nathan is winning by move 30, we're going to start criticizing him there. So just remember that little timestamp of 30 with me. And then we'll look at the game review. So, boop, boop, boop. Okay. 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 My opponent played this move instantly. And you think c5 is stronger. c5 is definitely more thematic. This move is a perfect example of how sometimes opening study can harm you. I've seen many games and lines where white's setup is just like this and white's pieces are very harmoniously placed. However, white's advantage in the position is that white has more development, and with c3 I give him a chance to catch up. Better than c3 would have been to develop the dark square bishop or to castle. Okay, I'm with that. And another way of saying it is I know exactly what you're saying with the c3. There's a bunch of like tricky variations where like maybe a queen comes out and stuff like that, or a knight e5. Kraai, you just making a mess of yourself, buddy? What's going on, man? It's a good example, too, of we don't know what our opponent's going to do. He's already played something weird like bishop e7, right? And c3, maybe not. To me, it's for sure it's castles. I have no idea what black's going to do next, but castling can be wrong. Okay. Whoa. Whoa, this was the first time I took some time, and I think I came up with a pretty creative idea for how to play the position. Okay. Well, well, do I believe in this? That's a good question. I don't know if I do. So, all right, the problem with this move is that if we don't mate him now, we're in trouble. Plus, since it's not a developing move, we are encouraging black's next move, b6, which makes a lot of sense. Okay. Personally, I believe in black, but I'm willing, you know, I'm a free, you know, I'm allowed to think about it. So, bishop c2. I regret only spending 3 minutes here. This is an incredibly rich attacking position with a lot to understand. It cannot be played purely off the intuition, right? Even if you are not an amateur, like you say, you still you're the one who's made it incredibly concrete with h4. And you say, instead, knight e5, bishop b7, rook h3. And you write, white's attack looks crushing here. If hg5 ever happens, I can take back and bring my queen to h5 with devastating consequences for the king. Interesting. Okay, let's just say, even if I'm not convinced, that this is very interesting. Yeah, it's spicy. For example, what about knight e4? What about, I think those are the, let me just say this. I think this rook h3 is very interesting, but you should, in your notes, consider those two moves, c5 and knight e4. And I have a feeling I could spend a good amount of time on those moves, right? You know, a sample variation would be c5, rook g3, king h8, and maybe ye old queen d2. You know, party isn't close to over though. Knight g8. So that's one variation black can think about. And then this knight e4 thing is very concrete. I don't know. I'm assuming you got to take it. And then the thing about this for black is he says, well, now my queen is next to her man and feels, you know, she feels a little safe. She feels comforted next to her man like that. Okay, let's continue. So bishop c2, bishop a6. Now, this is probably okay. Dude spent 13 minutes here. I want to stress, though, that bishop b7 seems fully playable. If queen d3 right away, we have bishop e4. And if snip, snop, queen d3, I'm not sure you're doing anything to me. You know? I'm just not sure. Okay, bishop a6. Reasonable looking move. c5, here he comes. And now queen d2. This is fun, of course. Now, the problem with this bishop is maybe it's getting ghosted, right? Like in the other positions, you have e4. And now you talk about knight c6. So knight c6. If queen d7, you're saying knight e7, queen e7, bishop h6. This is fun. Now, by the way, even this one, I don't think we're done yet. I think we continue knight d5, and we're like, I don't know. I don't know. But black, that's a little insane for black to do that. On knight c6, you also need to consider that move, though, don't you? Right? Maybe not so simple either. Yeah, complicated. Okay, so cd4, rook c8. He's not afraid. He's not afraid. Rook c1. And now finally he plays knight d5. I'm pretty sure if I was black, I would have been a weenie and played knight d5 ages ago. Just ages ago. Bishop h6, by the way, that's no lo puedo because of bishop b4. So I think you're committed. And now I think you're worse. I think you just got to say the milk has gone bad over here. a3. All right, rook fd8. Maybe the guy can play something else. It looks fine. g4, here we come. Queen f6, g5, queen f4. Now, arguably, he should have played queen f6 instead of rook fd8, right? Probably would have made his life a little simpler. Boom. Now, one thing that's interesting here is he might have lost himself a tempo here by taking on d2. So here he's helping your king come to where we want it to be. Check to the miserable. Rook g4. I don't like this move. That's creating a weakness. Now, I want to say, I still fundamentally believe in black. And you have a good variation of knight f6, rook f4. And I want to continue like king e7. And the way I would see it is like you are going to be worse unless you have like a rook g1, rook g7 thing. Do you have it? Maybe. Maybe. I can't go rook g8 because you snip, and there's this problem. Maybe I could even do that, but I don't want to do it. That's too hectic for an old man. Anyways, these are things to analyze. Holy katoles. He lets you do this, and then you go, that's a good move, buddy. There you go. Now he's toast. Check to the miserable. Dang. And remember I said at move 30, if you if you weren't already winning, I was going to yell at you. But here, you're winning. So that was amazing, dude. So Nathan, let me talk a little bit about this game. This is great. And great annotations. I like how you used a lot of words. Let me give you a view of, I think, how my coach, KGB, what he would tell you. He'd be a real dickhead, first of all. Okay? He'd be a real jerk. And he would say something like, this child understand only tactic, no understanding of the chess. You know, it sounded very rude. Very rude. But I want you to see that you played with a lot of creativity. It worked out in this game. Your opponent, you know, also made some superficial moves. Great for your progress. H4, just feel a little bit of, I don't know. Also, like, it's not your only move. And when you do the annotations, maybe just ask a simple question like, what about this? Or maybe even more basic, what about this, threatening queen e4? That looks like just a nice position, you know? Well, Alex, to use your time, this is what I've seen. Once we get to about the 1800 cohort, the problem is largely fading away. When it comes to online games, even strong players will move too fast because they're distracted. But in general, no, these high-rated players are not going to have this problem. Okay, that was great. Nathan, welcome to the dojo. You're doing great, bud. And that's the second graduation for Nathan. Here's viral stigma. This graduation show is going to last forever, my friends. I don't even know if I'm going to finish today. Here we go. I have been in this cohort. I'm going to have to crack open a Pruess. I have been in this cohort for far longer than I would like, and even held off graduation for quite some time in an effort to do some of the lower cohort training. Got to fix this, but I believe staying here too long has stunted my growth too much, and I've looked toward a chess coach outside the dojo. They're significantly cheaper. If I had a preference, it would be David or Jesse. Thank you. That can help me with my weaknesses that I was trying to improve myself. My intention is to focus more on the study program's better fit for my rating. My time in this cohort has been up and down battle, as my history of epilepsy got me to stop playing chess for 10 months completely before getting back to it. I was studying very thoroughly during the summer when I recently moved and I didn't have a job in the area. My study time has slowed down since October when I started a new job, and I'm making an effort to bring back a better study plan, regardless of the fact I have now less time that I'm working. I have recently been playing a ton of games at my new local chess club on Tuesday, where I've met a number of wonderful people. Unfortunately for me, I'm significantly stronger than the players there, so getting a proper training game is tough. Admittedly, this is part of the reason I haven't graduated sooner, as I will not count the games as proper training games given the rating difference once I graduate. I will give an exception to the one player who rarely shows up once every 2 months on average, who is of decent strength, if the guys at my club wish to team up against me for a game or two. Regarding my experience with my epilepsy, looking back at some of my games, it pains me dearly knowing I was on a meteoric rating rise, which would have had me graduate much sooner. I still think one of my best games ever happened right before my seizure, and I'm honestly not too sure if I'm doing better now than I was at that moment. I have an annotated game of it here on the dojo, and is one of the many reasons I've stuck with the Philidor/Lion variation, which I originally played as a way to broaden my understanding of different pawn structures. Since then, I've had a couple of wonderful games during Friday night fights while David is streaming. Unfortunately, it's a bit too late for me and gives me concerns regarding my medical situation, because it starts at 11. Part of the allure for Friday night fights for me was also to have one of the dojo masters look at my games while I'm playing. I might consider playing in the morning if possible, but am not too certain on that. Of the few games I had with the dojo members at Friday night fights, my favorite was against Where Is the Bread, that lasted until shortly after 2 a.m. During the game, I got into a fascinating tactical skirmish in a Queen's Indian that turned into some kind of weird Nimzo. I'm going to play my first ever OTB in May. Amazing. Let me just say, it is incredible that you've gotten this far and have never played OTB. It is an open section that traditionally has 1-2 masters attending and 30 to 40 entrants with an average rating of 1750. I believe this tournament will be a good stepping stone for me versus being stuck in a under 1200 section tournament, and I'm looking forward to it. My journey has been a long roller coaster in this cohort, and I'm very appreciative of everything you guys at the dojo are doing. I am looking forward very much to your future opening trainer. Keep it up. Amazing. All right, let's go check out. Here's Viral Stigma. Started at age 23, still a young buck. Yeah. Okay, so there's the rapid rating. He is at 1933 and has yet to get an OTB. The tactics test, interestingly, is done not as great, so that's definitely a goal for Viral, is to improve his tactics. We don't see a lot of green on the screen here, so maybe that could be a priority. All right, clubs. Canada, nice, okay. Activity. Yeah, so I think actually looking at that tactics rating, Viral, we need to see more tactics. All right, and then we have games. I think he wants me to go over this one particular game, so let's grab it. Grab it, Correctamundo. Okay, boom. And then let's just open the window. Here is our time graph. Pretty quick, I guess we could say. Markets reviewed, and we'll go game review. So, right, he's playing these in the middle of the night. He's playing these bad boys in the middle of the night. Fine. Okay. 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 Poor. This is just wrong. White needs to occupy the center and his bishop is offside. Correct. It is a bad piece and would rather be on g5 where it will be traded for black's good knight. And also it's in the way of a4, which is a typical idea for white. Good move. Here I notice white was starting to tank on time when the position has yet to ramp up. The position was simple enough that the time usage from white showed me I could use the clock as a weapon by playing natural good moves. Good. That's right. And so if you were going to play bishop a3, by the way, then c5 has got to be what you got to try. Do I still like black's position? I do. But otherwise, your bishop is toast. So you played queen e7, and I want to stress here, c5 is a hell of a drug. It's a hell of a drug because now the bishop's completely toast, and you're set up to do this stuff. All right, so queen e7, you played too quickly. c5. Okay. So the great thing about c5 is then your knight would have been able to come over here. This is the square we want to look at. Okay. e5. I feel like you're probably committed to this move here. So you are doing great. You talk about e4. I don't know. I had a tactical question on e4. I don't know if it works. Can you get it? Can I get it away? I don't know. I don't know. That's a little too loose. Maybe queen e3 or something there. Okay, but I agree with you. E4 makes sense. This is terrible. Now the bishop really has no dreams. Queen E6. Personally, I would put that guy there. A5. The best move of the game by far, and I'm happy to say I had it all calculated out. Okay, so let's talk about what he's doing. He is making a big claim about pushing the queen around with A4. There's things I'm not sure. Okay. So E4 doesn't make any sense for white because you're giving him this square. You talk about queen C2. So one basic question is, could we come up with a plan for Mr. Black, right? Mr. White, maybe knight F3. That would be something to look at. All right, I don't intuitively, I'm not 100% on A5 because I think positionally rook Fe8 and you're just winning. That isn't it. That's a good move. There it is. There we go. Beautiful. You looked at rook H5. Fine. You're doing great, of course. That isn't it. That wasn't it. Oh, now I'm coming over, Grover. Check to the miserable king, friend. Oh, there it is. Yeah. This is evil. Man, take it easy. Take it easy. There we go. Mate! So, viral. That was great, dude. That was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Hopefully I said a couple things that were of value to you. And I definitely think there are two ways in which you can challenge yourself. You mentioned one. That is to play this OTB tournament. That's the big one. Annotate those games. It'll be a completely different experience. Go in just with an open mind. A lot of players who are playing OTB, or excuse me, online, have a very big problem when it comes to their first OTB event. You can see there's kind of a, you called it a shallowness to this person's play, right? And, you know, lower rated, but also they'll be a little less shallow at the OTB. People will actually think longer. Okay, but that's great. And then the other thing is, of course, is to try to get your tactics rating up. When I say tactics rating, I mean this number right here. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Next up, we have Ramheiser. Really enjoyed the structure by the dojo. Haven't taken full advantage yet, but I'm hoping to change that over the next few weeks, namely annotating my game, loving the community. Great. Okay, let's go check out Ramheiser. Doing a lot of tactics. Look at that. Look at that tactics. He hasn't done any of our tests, though. What is he doing for tactics? Let's go look. It's funny, all these tactics. But, he's doing the main twos. Good. Good. So when we look at the ratings, you should be able to crush this test after doing all those mate and twos. Crush the checkmate test. Okay. So, clubs, nothing. Games, 1. And I'm going to say, when we get a long show like this, I'm sometimes thankful when people don't have games. I'm just like, I can't take it, buddy. You guys are trying to kill me. Why are you trying to kill me? All right, let's just... All right, here we go. This is Ramheiser playing Blunderhead. We don't have clock times. Okay, so... All right. Fine. Bishop d6 is just as logical as bishop e7. Why? Yeah, g5 followed by h5 is fun, but also just castling. Just castling would be better than this h6 thing. I'm not sure about this from white. Okay. Very ambitious. To me, the reason this is, I don't know, doesn't look right is because this bishop is controversial because it's blocked by the pawn. But as a defensive piece, oh, it's amazing. So imagine, like, how is white going to mate me being black, when this bishop is here? I don't think you are. Good move. That doesn't look like it. You're doing fine. Now, I think as well we could have just played bishop h7. He's not doing anything to us. He's doing nothing. So, I'm not sure about knight f6, but I still like your position. And he's going for it. Bishop f5. Queen g2. Right. And it's funny, I've been doing a lot of tactics in the morning, and bang! I saw that pretty quick. I wasn't sure if it worked, but I knew that this was scary beyond belief. Now you talk about rook f7 here. But knight f7 is also a hell of a drug. Because you can't play bishop takes because of this. Oh no. So this is just fully unpleasant. This is like, yep, this is unpleasant right here. Okay, queen g2. This is called no fear. Good. Yeah, and he's basically cashed out here, and your position is now amazing. My opponent was down to 6 minutes compared to my 32. Refreshing for once. Yeah. Now you played rook c8. By the way, I have a feeling what happened was you're doing an OTB game here. And you can write down the times. All right. Now, rook c8 doesn't seem wrong. Marking as dubious because I'm not sure what's best here. Well, the only thing intelligent I have to say is you should be winning this position because you got the pawns, you got the better king, your dark square bishops, both your bishops are amazing, right? So this makes a lot of sense to me. Okay. Okay, you're doing great. Look at the dark square bishop. Amazing. Knight b3. And now you talk about rook d8. Okay. I mean, this is that you're doing great, dude. You're doing great. I don't know. F3. What do you want him to do? You want him to castle? You want him to castle? Maybe. There's problems. He's got problems. Castle's queen e2 probably. It's hard for him to move. Yeah, now you're wasting. Oh, look at this. Bam, baby. Oh, dude, take it easy. Beautiful game. Beautiful game. Okay. So, good annotations. Hopefully I said something of value for you there. And yeah, you're going to get a lot of chump attacks. At this level, you get a lot of chump attacks. Yeah. Jesse getting serious, took off his coat. That's right. All right, so let's continue. Next up, we have My Tiggy Kitten. Playing classical rated games combined with weekly chess homework from Killer Chess Academy. Amazing. We had the famous Agard on our show. It was the longest podcast ever. It's 2 hours, dude. It's 2 hours. So we're going to have that up soon. It's already up on our Patreon and the other podcast things, just not yet up on the YouTube, I think. Okay, here we go. This is Mr. Tiggy Kitten doing a lot of non-dojo. And so maybe that's all this Killer Chess Academy stuff. Interesting. I have yet to see a player, use, and I think this is going to happen more, but maybe, might have players doing something like a completely different program, but using our business to use the heat map and stuff. In fact, one of the ideas, I'm going to write this down. One of the ideas that we've talked about is we are developing our own algorithm to tell people what to do. Once we develop that thing, then it would be possible. So it would give you like a weekly plan. Once we develop that thing, it would then be possible to have other people create their own plans that they could either share or sell or whatever. And the thought that went through my mind just now is opening that up it's a technological problem for one. We just have to create it so that our system is dynamically capable of taking on a different program. But definitely someone like Agard, maybe we could invite him to use the site, because being able to do this, of course, has value for somebody like the Agard people. And the Agard people are generally people who are higher, in my sense of who these people are, than, Tiggy Kitten, though I'm sure it goes all the way down. But what I'm saying is he's often training very strong GMs, right? Even though he's rated about the same as I am, he would be training me. He's training Shanklin and all these, Neiman, all kinds of other players, Okay, so here we go, clubs. And then, it's funny, I know there's like this thing called Agard's Army. That's a club in here. I was looking for that. 50 plus, there we go. All right, so activity, it looks like it's mostly this non-dojo, updated chessable, correspondence chess, classical, okay. Killer chess homework, there it is. Okay, clubs. Oh, I already did that, crying over here. No games, thank you, Mr. Kitty. I didn't have it in me, bud. I didn't have it in me to do a game every time. Of course, we would like to have you do a game here, Tiggy. But I'm going to be thankful now every time somebody doesn't have a game. Because look at that. Look at how many I have to go, buddy. This is a heart attack in the making. All right, next up we have Geezer. Geezer has done a lot of work. And there it is, 1670. Not a lot of work here. We can give him a follow. Tactics rating, low. So that's a concern. Clubs. SF Bay Area. Activity. It's done quite a bit. I don't know. Games. Loads. I was gonna celebrate, I admit it. But this is a while back that he graduated. Maybe I've already done this one. Let's see. No, well, let's take a look. So this is an OTB. And let's go game review. So far, so good. This is kind of a challenging position for black. There's a bunch of different moves here that black has tried. Basically, white's claiming that the knight on c6 is terrible. And this is truly weird here. Bishop takes. And that's also weird. Now white's better. Okay, you're doing great. You could also cast. I would have taken just because the rook seems terrible. Okay, let me just say, Geezer, this is the kind of position where we would want you to talk about what's going on and give us a sense. I'm not sure about A3, for example. I'm not sure about knight e7 either. I'm not sure about f4. So one of the things I want you to see, okay, is that you went from, being so happy you got that bishop to now a position where the bishop is terrible, right? Reasonable move. Now I guess we got to say that black, if anyone's better, it's black. That's not good. HG also made sense. I don't know. I was trying to double the rook on the d file before swinging the bishop back to e1, but this is too slow. But you're in trouble now. Now you're in trouble. I don't know if rook a7 is the best. Now, black is also not playing. Black is also not playing with all the marbles. No, well, people are just moving around and around here. Okay, I'm critical of both, but really what I want to stress is you should annotate more here, right? You should annotate more. And you talk about rook d1. Okay, so let's just say this goes on forever. It's going to end in a draw, but we needed more annotation in the thick of it because you get this very interesting I would say strategic advantage here. And then your task as someone annotating the game, I think, is to think about, like, well, what could I have done better? So, for example, here, CD is a thought, sure, but on the other hand, I think you're doing it because you're concerned about bishop a6, right? But let's say we go here, here, here. Oh, so what? What do they want? This bishop's a chump. And the point of CD is then you do liberate the bishop. Now, I still like that position for you, but I'd rather keep the bishop poor. Okay, great. We're going to see more, hopefully, of the geezer. A little bit more hours worked, hopefully, here, too. Okay, so next up we have Matt. Matt is a hero of the dojo. Matt is helping us with our advertising and has created some videos for us as well. He is known as Houseline on a couple forums. He's doing some Instagram videos just for himself in his chess training. Let's read what he says. Bit more caught up on the material now. Identifies a weakness in my play. Tactics are probably the worst part. But that said, I find them more so in games than from fresh positions as I have a better understanding of what is going on. Definitely don't calculate enough. Realize I go off having plans and trying to have activity. I think focusing on tactics will be my main thing for now. But that said, I'm not liking focusing on just one thing for 4 weeks, and I think I need more variations. Endgames will be the thing I'm going to start adding into the mix. P.S. The tactics test rating is pulled down because I recorded a clip of the test for the dojo and left it run without completing it. Okay. So here we go. So lots of tactics recently. Not quite a heat map hero, but he's getting in there. And he's up 16-13, so that's great. Here's his FIDE rating. And there's this tactics rating. Yeah, there was some tactics test where he's making excuses, man. Okay, so I think this is a sweet spot. If you are going to play online chess, it's still feasible until you get to like 1800. I don't know. Or let's just say soon, Matt. Soon. Because here you're starting to run into the heavy cheaters and stuff on Chess.com. Of course, if you play in our round robins and stuff, it won't be quite so bad. Question from Blib, can he just take another test and it'll push out the bad ones? It's going to be an average of the last 3 tests that he's taken. We are, on the horizon, we're going to redevelop our tests too to make it a little bit easier for Matt to change his rating. Okay, so here we go. Clubs. Got loads of clubs. He needs to get a Jersey club. He's living on the island of Jersey in the middle of a rainy ocean. And so that would be cool if he got a Jersey club going on. Activity. So, loads of work. Graduated twice. We want to look at this one. It took him 77 hours. So that's pretty good. Tactics he's doing. Loads of made in twos. He is not at the hard ones yet. So that's something to look forward to. 1471 will be a hard one coming up. The hard one coming up at him. Okay. Now I want to, So, good games. Loads of games. Let's look at this one. This was played quite recently. Times. We got some times. All right, when he says Jersey, by the way, my friends, he's not talking about New Jersey. This is a different Jersey. All right, really well done keeping the times. And let's go take a look at the game. So far, so good. Now, he's thinking here. It can't be bad. Good. Boom. Holy moly. We got an aggressive player here. And now, I think I'm going to say this is a mistake. Knight takes c3. He should play b takes c3. Knight takes. And now he goes for this move. Well, maybe. C takes d4. E takes d4. I think you're doing fine here, by the way. You're doing fine. Snip. I chose to take even though I activate white's bishop. I wanted to create an isolated pawn. In hindsight, if I left the tension and allowed him to isolate my pawn, my bishop would be active. So I think piece development was the better decision. So what are we talking about? We're talking about castles, right? It might go castles, takes, here. And the point would be to say, hey, this bishop, it's not that special. Not that special of a do. Yeah. And his king is poor. By the way, with these Nimzo things, you often get this kind of situation where his king is not castled yet. All right, so I agree with you. I don't like DC4 much. Okay. Okay. This guy doesn't have any fear. Zero fear. Okay. I'm okay with this move, I think. Now he does this too. Okay, you talk about bishop d7. I think a5 is a good looking move. Yeah, I like a5 here. Maybe it's okay. Snip, terrible move. Terrible move. I don't know why we're not taking with the queen. Good. Maybe superficial. Now you played f5. g6 felt just terrible. Okay. Good. Rook c8. I forgot about bishop f5. Okay. Now, can we just say something? Bishop c6 looks like the safe move. Okay, that's just like the safe one right there. Queen v6. And now you talk about rook a e8, which is weird, or rook f8. If you were worried about it, I think I could suggest king f8. About bishop f5, that is. And now he does it to you. Okay, so here he's dreaming about putting the bishop to d5. Okay, looks a little, maybe. Good, at least the idea is good. Okay. Okay. At this point, maybe it's not okay. He says queen a5, and that's a little time pressure signifier there. And now we're lost here, right? Yeah, we're toast. Okay, so that was an interesting game, and you did not play poorly. One of the things to say about this is if you wanted to study deep openings, you could lose your soul here. But the other way of saying it is, hey, as long as you make developing moves, you're going to be fine. D5, castles, D6, even knight C6, C5, B6, all of these are going to be fine moves. Okay. So one of the things I want you to see is that he is doing this game where he's trying to say, I'm going to get your bishop, and I'm going to be really cool because of it, right? This is spicy. F3, here he definitely needs to take with the pawn. And what he doesn't understand here is that now you're doing fine because your bishop, I like castles better, but still you're doing fine because your king is better, and that isolated pawn is going to make it difficult for his bishops to be so amazing. So, where you lost the thread was around here. Because you're doing fine here. No problemo. And a5's fine. Rook e8. That was weird. Good move. Reasonable move. And now, you're still okay. But this is where it started to go downhill. So, well done, House Lion Dude. Well done. And we'll go back just a second to check you out here. So this is the ratings over here. And, eventually soon you should think about, I know it's depressing, but think about this a little bit. And if we got rid of this score, your tactics rating would be pretty in line. Yeah? Okay, well done, man. Dragon Warrior doesn't say anything, but has done a lot of work. Let's go give a look. Dragon Warrior has graduated numerous times. Okay. Something happened dramatic there. I don't know. Dragon Warrior looks like they're ready to graduate again. Hasn't done any tactics tests. Clubs. One of these chess steps, people. Okay. Games. I was gonna do a little dance. Now look. Okay, wait. Dragon Warrior, definitely this isn't enough for where you are, okay? We want a longer time control than that for the 1700 cohort. Okay, so I just want to quickly look. What is this activity that you're doing? How are you doing the maiden twos? He's doing some non-dojo work recently, custom work. Well, let's just briefly look at how it went, what it is. Forcing chess moves. Okay. All right, Dragon Warrior, well done. Next up, we have Wolves, who I remember also graduated. Third year, third graduation. I do remember Wolves. We've been around for a while. Made it from 1220 German rating and no FIDE to 1503 and 1758. Keeping in mind I'm an adult improver with not much time due to work and PhD, I think I am more than fine with that. Hoping it continues in that direction for some time and not hitting a plateau soon. I mostly play games and analyze them in detail, but I'm behind in annotating them. I should also do more tactics and work on my endgames as it seems I lack conversion skills after coming good out of non-memorized openings and achieving a good position quite frequently. This is at least what my aggregate analysis of games suggests. Yes, Econ PhD. I like doing aggregate and causal analysis and is very helpful for realizing on what one should focus more on. Okay, beautiful. So, let's click on wolves here. So, beautiful, has been with us for a bit. Started in 2022 after 15 years. Let's give, I don't know why I haven't followed wolves here. So, we got the German rating, 1529. Looks great. Looks great. Tactics, I don't know what's going on there. He crushed one checkmate test. Other than that, I'm going to guess he just hasn't done those in a while. So that actually, you're talking about tactics. Just getting that higher could be a good goal. All right, clubs. We got the German dojo, looks great. Activity, lots of games and analysis, good. And here it looks like we have an OTB. This was, I played a while back though. Wait a second. Look at that, this game is, I don't know why. Let's see if I go played here. So there we go. Let's get the more recent one there. Okay, so time. Uh-oh. All right, so something happened here. Something happened with the time. All right, we'll try to figure out what it was. All right, public transport hosed him out of 10 minutes. All right. Good. So I have this. I created this years ago as an endgame repertoire. And once you understand it, it is a vicious thing. So knight c3, c6, very good. The king will go to c7. Our king is developed. Knight of 3, f6. And this is the chump way that you'll most often get when they play against you. You know, they'll be like, let me mess up your castling. But no, let me develop my knights. They're not developed. They're undeveloped. Black is already better. g3. Fine. And now castles. Undeveloping the king. Well said. 97, good. Now, let me just say one thing about this, actually. It's definitely an art form to figuring out how to play this position. I don't like bishop c5 because this knight needs to do something, and I would rather not that it whacked my bishop, right? So to me, the default moves are these two. I'm not convinced yet that I want to play bishop c5. Okay, bishop b6. Now this scares me because you're allowing knight d6. Also, bishop a3 immediately could be annoying. He comes in. And then does this. Now you could play bishop c5. Good move. Good move. And really, you're already close to winning here. All right, so. You analyze knight a6 a little bit. Knight a6 definitely an advantage for black. This is just killing, isn't it? Thank you very much. Now, I would definitely say this is winning for you. Boom, simple. Yeah, of course you're winning. You're up several coconuts. Good move. Fine. Look at this simple chess. Killing. Oh, well done. So, you know, one of the cool things about this is, to a certain extent, it shows how learning and opening, you can get a sense of how to play a position. And really, at the level Mr. Waltz is at here, that's great, you know. That's great. That's kind of what we want, is like when you can get out of the opening a position that you understand. And honestly, it's kind of like a positional trick, right? Because they're like just moving their pieces around, thinking they're doing things, and actually strategically, they're in big trouble. Yeah. Now, it takes a little work to play it right. I feel like bishop c5 and inaccuracy, right? But otherwise, beautiful game. Okay, let's continue. Next up, we have Kevin. Kevin says, really glad to have joined the dojo. It has been great to chat with other dojos and discuss chess improvement. The classical games were hard to schedule at first, but doing all the cohort work is paying off and I'm starting to see results. Looking forward to playing more and analyzing games. Beautiful. Here we go. Lots of work done recently. I think this is a good example of like the heat map in action. Actually, let's go large. Actually, no, there was just a break. What I was to say is like, here is where the heat map got developed and we're seeing more activity with people. But you could see earlier on in the year, he went through like phases of activity over here. Okay, so we'll go back. And good progress up to 1402. Lee chess, he's even higher. Tactics, killing. So that suggests that he is ready for massive improvement, given that he's done so well on the tactics here. Yeah. Okay, good. Clubs, Quebec, and the chess steps. Okay, good. We got a lot of. We got a lot of strong Canada contingent here. Activity. Let's see what he did to get here. 184 hours of work, my friends. No chump change. Good macro distribution. Great. Games. Let me just see if we have one, which is OTB. I'm not seeing one. Let's hit this one here. Bang. So this is Dojo Round Robin. Fantastic. Let's see the times. Definitely, it looks like we black are a little guilty of moving too fast. Now, something just interesting for those watching the show. As we started with a higher rated today, and now we're moving into the lower rated. Will we see people moving faster and faster? Is it like a muscle that's being loosened or something as we go down? Very interesting thought. Also, do we see quick play more often when we go online? That's my sense of it. Okay, here we go. Game review. So, fine. Okay. He calls this atypical. We're just developing our coconuts. Here we go. Knight d7. c6 is, to me, a little weird. I would prefer e5. Here we go. Now queen c7. I definitely agree that h6 is better. Now, what I want you to see about your c6 move is that really, in a lot of ways, it's helpful for white because it's the wrong side of the board. And I realize there are some variations where black plays c6, but here it feels like it's to white's benefit. Queen c7 I really don't like. It's on the wrong side of the board here. h6 makes sense. Also, trying to establish a blockade with c5 isn't totally dumb either. Okay, here we go. I don't like the queen there. She's on the wrong side of the board. Okay, white has several good moves. I like knight d2 or knight e1. What does he do? Rook c1. And then you take. Oh no, we're opening up the rook. He just put him there. All right, queen b6. Okay, now the queen is funny, right? And now does knight d2 kill you? What does he do? That's probably fine. You write knight d2 a6. I don't understand that. Now, the big question I would have is, could you play queen takes b2? I kind of doubt it. I kind of doubt it, but I would want to ask the question. Actually, you just forget about knight b5 or something horrendous. Knight d2 looks correct. No, you're just getting wailed on. You're just getting kapuntied, kapuntied. So queen c2, knight c5. Again, knight d2. Okay, I like it less. And now knight g4, very good. Knight a4, let's play, maybe we can play knight e3. It's at least an interesting try. Boom. Boom. Interesting position. Now, are you toast? Well, we're about to find out. Well, I don't know if it's forced, but let's just look at this for a second. Now, very interesting King's Indian position. You talk about how bishop b5 here would be white's best move. I've got questions about bishop b5, like a6. Well, no, a6. I understand where you're coming from. It's kind of spicy. It's kind of spicy what's going on here. Yeah. I encourage you to do some analysis with like bishop b5, knight e4. And now the normal reason we would say don't do knight e4 is you're allowing rook c7, but that's also the square the knight wants to go to, right? Now you're saying, amazingly to me, that you are better in this position. I don't know. I don't know about any of that stuff. I just don't know. Like, why are we better after, say, knight c7? I mean, maybe you are, but I don't know. I'm not that fast. I would need some explaining, Interesting compensation? Yeah. I don't know what's going on, though. So bishop d7. Threatening the knight, this move was intended to stop the escape to b5 of the knight. Very good. He goes b4. And he's missing what you now do, which is really cool. So I think this guy, well, let's think about this. Yeah, interesting position. I'm losing my mind a little bit just how complicated this is. It's complicated. Anyways, I think knight c7 is interesting. I think you should now at knight c7, I could play rook c4 in response and maybe somehow live. Now this happens, and that's an exclam that I have a feeling your opponent missed. Now he just blows it with knight b6. That's not it. A question, I think, has to be, what about bishop d1? If we take, he's got f4. If we play g5, which is probably correctamundo, on g3, we could consider this move, g4. Spicy, right? Very, very spicy. The rook is so powerful, though, that it's still like, oh my gosh, do we really know what's going on here? These would be some variations to look at. That's not it. All right. I like that a lot. That's brilliant. Bishop b2, yeah. Oh, yeah, welcome to the dojo, buddy. Woo! That was a great game, 64. That was really good, dude. That was fantastic. That was really interesting. Your opponent definitely missed some chances, but when this whole wild thing went down, you did a very nice, interesting Exchange sack. Yeah. And I think you got, whether it's right or wrong, I feel like you had to do it because you were in a little trouble. But how great. Yeah, this is King's Indian play at its best. Okay, my friends, I got to take a quick break. I'm coming right back.
Welcome to Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine did he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truan. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis. With lengthy game analysis, with sensei direction, he sold his...
All right, my friends, we are back. And next up, we have Parvnik. Parvnik says, calculation and tactics improved a lot from the Polgar mating twos. Great. Let's go give Parvnik a look. Parvnik has been very busy doing all kinds of things. Give him a follow. And tactics rating is not as high, but they blew it on a tactics test, so something maybe went wrong there on one of those tests. So clubs, we got the French club, nice. Activity, what are they doing non-dojo? All kinds of stuff. All right, there we go. And otherwise, a lot of tactics, as he said, maiden twos, fantastic. It'll get harder in a little bit for you. So, games, looking good. Let's go click on this one. Let's see time. We don't have time on this one. So, boom, boom. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, very spicy. I don't like the move knight c6 because I don't, well, maybe you could do it. Maybe you could do it. But in general, he needs to get the c-pawn involved. He needs to get the bishop involved. Okay. Now queen h4, you talk about knight e5. I definitely think knight e5 would be the challenge. It's a two drink kind of day over here. Yeah, I think knight e5 makes a lot of sense. I also think that you could make the claim that you're a little better in the endgame too. That's a weenie move, but I do think you're a little bit better here. Right? Okay. So, queen h4, queen e7. Now, could dude play e5? That's my little question. No, I'm not sure. This would be a good little investigazione. Kraai, you can't think forever, though. How about this one? Bang! 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 Oh, jeez, Malise, Mr. Bambanese. Ah, there might be some pain in everyone's future here. Look at that. Bang, bang, bang. All right, so he plays queen e7. I think we should look at other moves there. Knight g5, superficial. You talk about g4, very good. Yeah. So, now he is determined to trade. What should he be determined to do, by the way? He should be determined to get his bro out. That's the guy who needs to come out. So e5 has got to be the move to consider. Yeah, Alex, we need a spindrift. We need a spindrift thing here. Why are we taking that? So look, at the minimum, we take here, we say we got the better endgame. I'm better developed. And why are we taking it? Even if you wanted to continue the attack, play queen g3. Okay. You're dealing with a traitor. h5. Now we're losing our minds. For sure, I guess knight e5. Yeah, knight e5. By the way, knight e5 is not just about avoiding the trade. It's like saying, I don't want you to ever play e5 yourself. And now I guess he's going to be better after he takes. So he comes around the mountain. I don't know about this coming around the mountain, by the way. I don't know. Okay. By the way, why don't we just start off with ye old knight e5? That's a terrible move from him. Oh my gosh, now he's getting frisky. Knight f3 back, we're doing fine. Now, see, he is obsessed with taking your business. No. It's too dangerous. Too dangerous here. Knight e2 looks very strong here to play knight f4. I don't understand that move. No, I don't know, because he can defend. Finally, we bring knight e2. Good. Now you play gf3. You talk about knight e6. And that's a nice variation, okay? Now we're in a little trouble. Yeah, now we're in a little trouble. Rook g8 intending g5 is also a thought, of course. That looks like, can he do that? That's very dangerous here, this rook h2 move. You play c4, you talk about boom, 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 and you say that he is winning in this position. I don't know. We could continue here. Rook takes e6. Looks pretty strong to me. Yeah, at the minimum, we're not worse. Minimum, we're not worse. Look at that. Our knight's strong. So this is his first endgame OTB. By the way, that position is interesting. Here we're just down a pawn. Oh my lord. You talk about c5. Black's going to be better no matter what. He's up a pawn. Do I understand this? I think this is a little unnecessary from him. He should play fe. Now, at least, you know, it might feel kind of good. At the very least, it feels kind of good that you're doing something to him. He's getting real frisky. You talk about rook h2. Rook h2 is definitely the reason why rook g4 at the minimum makes no sense, because you're just, he's inviting you in. This one too, though, maybe we're saying you missed this? I don't know. What about knight e4? He's not out of the woods yet. This is still very difficult for him because his king hasn't got a way in. Now we're in trouble. I don't know what b4 does. I don't know what c5 does. Now he's just really improved his position. That's got to be winning for him, right? Unknowing entering this losing king and pawn endgame. Okay. So, this is great. I want to say your annotations are pretty good. In the endgame is where we really want to annotate it more. And one thing you should get from this is just seeing like, oh yeah, up a pawn in the endgame, unless something really weird is happening, I'm losing this thing, you know? Totally toast. Okay. So, cheap tricks are not enough. I want you to see you're gonna play a lot of opponents that are passive, that don't respect their own pieces, right? So, you know, moves like knight h7. My girlfriend has this dog. It's very submissive. You know, whenever it comes up against another dog or something, it just immediately kind of like does that. That's what knight h7 feels like to me. You know, what are you doing? Well, your knight's in the center. Why is it lying on the floor like the dog? You know, what are you doing? So you're gonna play a lot of opponents like that, and just think to yourself, oh, well, it's about piece activity. You don't have to be a genius. You have a choice. This is stylistic. You play queen g3, or you play takes on e7 and e4. You play for a nice endgame. Your choice. But hurt them. Hurt them. Say to yourself, oh, this person, they don't respect their pieces, like this guy. Okay. So here we go. Boom. Next up, we have Cinnaburga. Cinnaburga is just crushing along here. And 1305, doing a lot of tactics. Holy moly, they're doing a lot of tactics. Clubs, nothing. Games, got a couple. Let's see what these tactics are real quick. He's all over it. He's all over it. Let's just check the tactics rating, actually, real quick. Has done some checkmate. It'd be cool to see some tactics tests. So, as you can see, the tactics rating, much higher. So if Cinnaburga can bring it in other areas, he's going to obviously be flying up the ladder. So, this is Cinnaburga over here. All right, so a little bit of a fast time control, you can see. His opponent, not really thinking. He will play harder opponents coming up. Oh, I already looked at this one. So wait a second. Let's go back. Yeah, this was... How is it possible that I looked at this? Because he just graduated. He graduated last week, so I already looked at this one. Whew, you're flying, Cinnaburga. You're flying. Honestly, I think I'm going to see you again soon because your tactics rating is so high. Yeah. You're just... And so, yeah, we want to see a little bit more over here. A little bit more over here of the games analysis. Good. Next up, we have Wikrin. And Wikrin is taking a little break. He was doing some tactics before. He's from the Ukraine. Dude, I hope... Yeah, it's rough, dude. Rough. Give him a follow. 779. Okay, Wikrin, something's going on with your tactics. Well, maybe we can make an argument you weren't used to our tests. And this puzzle rush thing here, that looks reasonable. That looks more commensurate with your rating. Clubs. Dude, if you could create a Ukraine club, that would be cool. Kostya might even join your club. Yeah. All right. So, games. No games. Well, Rickard, we know what you need to do, bud. We know what you need to do. Do some of those tactics tests. Do the games. All right, here we go. We got... Oh, we're not even close to done, Kraai. We got Mila up next. What does Mila say? CFC, give him a follow. Now, this rating is way too high. Way too high, Mila. What are you doing? You're in the wrong cohort, bud. Now, did they just know? They've been with us for a while. Maybe they changed cohorts and that, I don't know. Yeah, A little bit weird. So maybe even though this is their preferred thing, maybe they feel like they're actually over here. Mila, tell us something about yourself. No clubs, activity, that's looking reasonable. Games, nothing. Well, Mila, give us some games, Bows. Tell us about yourself. Next up, we have Jaden. Jaden might have just joined the dojo. We're going to see what's going on here. October last year. Done some work, but, not too much. 1202, give him a follow. We don't have any tactics information. Clubs. Adult improver, okay. Activity. All right, just a little bit. We've got some games, nothing. So, Jaden, it's clear. You need to do some work, fill out this, commit yourself to this heat map, do some games, and the progress will come. Gonna be a daily grad stream by next year? Gosh, maybe. All right, next up is Jules. Jules says, the dojo has definitely improved my chess ceiling, but I got cocky and ignored my chess floor. Though my chess skills were better, I got lazy and started making errors, missing checks, pins, etc. I had to train myself to run through a pre-flight checklist before each moves. After the checklist, then I allow myself to consider strategy, tactics, etc. And this has improved my results. Wow, let's take a look at this heat map, friends. Now that's a hell of a drug, Jules. That's a hell of a drug right there, bud. That looks amazing. Yeah. Now, just superficially, it looks like you're playing too much. That's just superficially. We'll get into it in a little bit. Okay, so let's go take a look. Tactics, there was a deep fail. There's a deep fail on the checkmate, but that looks reasonable. Both of those look reasonable. Okay, so this looks great. Clubs, down under dojo. Great. Dude's graduated numerous times. Activity, loads. We go back just to see how he did it. It took him 146 hours to do this latest graduation. Looking great. He's allowed to do a little opening, 5%. Good. All right. And now let's get into it here. This is Jules. And here, here we go. So this looks like more of a thing we would see in the under 1,000 cohorts, where we're playing somebody who's not thinking at all. Now, what we're going to hope from Jules, who played pretty good with the clock, is that by move 30, they were already winning. So we'll just try to remember that as we consider this. So, okay. Generally, people play f4 here, but you could do knight f3. Okay. Now, here's an interesting thing. You are playing natural developing moves, and this is kind of the situation Black is looking for in some senses. But I think the question could be, for me, is like, oh, just by playing natural developing moves, is White going to be okay? Well, let's look. I don't like this move, develops your queen. Snip, okay. And now, let's see, you're doing fine. Castle's fine. Rook c8, and now queen g4. I'm going to praise this move to the moon. I think this is a great move. The thing also to see, this is what we call a French structure with the pawn over here, is this is our side of the board over here, king side. And so we need to create some drama over there. Queen g3, good move. Bad move. Bad move. Where did you want to go, though? Queen g3 is a good move, buddy. Queen g3 is fine. Queen b6. Okay. Now you played knight d2. I'm not sure about knight d2. There's a lot of different moves that you can play here. And we do want to be creative at this point, because we are allowed to, attack. If we find no creative ideas, we can just calmly play rook b1. Right? All right, you played knight d2. This makes me a little nervous. Maybe it's okay. Yeah, okay, maybe it's fine. Knight b3. Okay. I don't know why we didn't play knight b3. g6. I would have been concerned about ye old queen takes b2. Well, probably okay. Knight f3 back. Boom, boom. So the problem is you weren't aware. I don't know. You didn't have to lose that pawn, Jules. You didn't have to lose. It was unnecessary. Okay. Okay. It's hot. It's definitely hot. Queen f5. And now you took the thing. Do we have to take the thing? Maybe you don't. Queen e3 is an interesting question. Now I don't like your position. The whole point would be like to say, by the way, we go back here. We're saying, look, you're better because the black king is in trouble. So if you make a move like knight b3, we have no exact idea about what's going on, but we know that our king is long-term better than our opponents. That our king is much better than our opponents, and he's got two pieces that have to figure out their life. Raghav asks, is the cohort for USCF or Elite Chess? Basically, we had to create our own system that translates the different rating systems. So, Jules, let's go see what happened in this endgame. It looks lost to me. I like rook b1 as an attempt there better. Your opponent likes using his rook over here. He's playing some strong moves. Okay. Now, he didn't need to allow this. And now you're alive, right? Are you alive? Maybe not. Maybe you are. I didn't like allowing knight d6, so king f8 made more sense to him. And now I guess we're toast. Maybe, I don't know. Check. He's figured it out. Yeah, I guess we're toast. Yep. Okay. Crispy critters. Okay. Now, you were lost anyway, but Jules, I want to say that was one of the things I liked about it is you did not know any opening theory, and you got yourself a position here where you're doing much better. Why? Because your development is great, right? And that was a star move. And I thought also queen g3, even though you gave it a question mark, was a star move. From here, you lost the thread, okay? But otherwise, here you should be saying to yourself, I'm going to kill this fool. I'm going to kill people who forget to develop their coconuts. Okay, Jules? Yeah. So just to quickly address this question, you can see that here, if you have a Elite Chess rating of 1801, that is what we call the normalized dojo rating is 1211. Or for the ChessCom, if you're 1361, that normalizes to 1111. Okay, boom. Next up, we have Sneaky Pablo. Sneaky Pablo doesn't have any points. No one knows what's going on with Sneaky Pablo. Let's give him a follow, though. Clubs, nothing. Games, nothing. Thank you, Sneaky Pablo. I needed a break. Next up, we have Judo. What does Judo say? 11 points of work, so not that much. Joined the dojo. I've already been here for a long time. Adult learner who helps coach elementary chess. Well, that's cool. We'll give him a follow. We'll definitely also say, those elementary school teachers, dude. Well, maybe he's not a school teacher, but, you do anything with elementary school kids, it's hard to get some training in, and that's what we'd like to see here. Tactics looks commensurate with where he's at. Maybe we could do some tests. Clubs. Let's go Philly. All right. So Activity, 40 hours. Great, all right. Games. This is Dulo's Discovery. And I kind of, these games are ancient. He's been, I think probably what happened, he started when the dojo was just a little child and now has come back. There we go, 30-0. Let's see, do we have time? Oh. So Dulos, as we approach the 1,000 barrier, starting from those big boys at the top, we begin to see more and more of this. Your principal task, your principal takeaway should be that you are moving too fast and that if you slowed down, you would improve. Your elementary school students, I'm sure, have a very similar problem. All right. So, okay, good. Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Weird. Castles, this is what I should have done. My understanding is that after this, my focus should be on the minority attack and trying to open up the queen side and win a pawn or two. Okay, so even though I like castles much better, it's definitely true that he's not doing a6 just willy-nilly. Dude does have an idea. Poor. So, no, that's not it. Oh, by the way, for white players, your goal should be to put a knight here. So queen e3 is a sensible move, intending knight f3 to e5. Queen e2, also a thought. a4 to stop b5, also a thought. Poor, g6. My idea was this, to tuck my bishop on g7 once I had castled, but it never made it there. Well, it's going to take forever, buddy. So look, just castle. Just castle. Yeah, you're doing fine. He's giving you time. E5 is also a move. Oh, that's terrible. So he totally helped you. Now you're doing great again. No one doesn't make any sense. By the way, when people move so fast, of course they're going to make superficial moves. King h1 after 30 seconds. But think about it before you think about it. It's played bishop f6 in 9 seconds. a4 is a question for me. I don't know what you're going to do after a4. Okay. I find it really weird that no one's castling here. Finally finds a4. Now we got a little trouble. We lose a pawn. Why aren't we castling? Oh, king f8. Now we're toast. Yeah. So, again, Dulos, it is about taking your time. Your opponent is also not taking his time. Making chump moves like king h1, right? Yep, that's right, Wise been talking. That's right, I need a hotkey. Or a GIF that pops up. Okay, next up we have Fibbits. And we have 3 more graduations here today. So, Fibbits just joined at the end of last year. Give him a follow. Has done just a little bit of tactics work. Did 1 checkmate test and was brutalized by it. No more. This 1200, though, that suggests that, at least with the puzzle rush, that he's got a reasonable sense of the tactics. No clubs. No games. Well, Fibbits, you know what to do. Next up, we have Rookbird. Rookbird hasn't done too much. Let's see what's going on. Joined a long time ago. Hasn't done too much recently. 1125. Done 2 checkmate tests. All this looks fine. Okay, clubs. Good. Games. No games. Rookbird, you know what you got to do. When kings don't castle, coconuts get touched. That's right. Norman Tuttle says, I haven't been very diligent with updating my work done to the dojo site. I'll try to improve with the new cohort tasks, including annotating games here. So far, none. A pretty balanced effort, I'd say. Playing weekly Lichess Lone Wolf 30-30, Daily Rapid, and some dojo games with postmortems. Analyzing games with my coach and some light annotating by hand, studying from dojo material, Smooth YouTube books. I was for a pretty long time 70 to 80% winning with white and 20 to 30 with black. Now these are about equal, so that was, I think, the biggest improvement. Positional moves seem to me now the biggest negative difference between me and my opponents, evaluating positions as well. I often see the positions correctly ahead, but judge them incorrectly and thus choose the wrong moves. Okay, first of all, we want to say that Norman has really moved up the ladder here. And maybe he hasn't been updating the work because I probably has done a lot more than just 21 points here. Okay, so there's Norman, 1152, hasn't done any much of this. Okay, clubs, nothing. Tell us where you're from, Norman. Tell us, give us some sense. And then we got a game played pretty recently, and we're going to see his sense of himself, if that rings true with this just one game. So the first thing we want to say is that the clocks look reasonable here, right? Maybe at the end we could ask Norman to be a little bit slower, but otherwise this looks reasonable. All right. So here we go. Okay. Fine. Okay. So now time to think. Hanging pawns. Talks a little bit about the hanging pawns. Great. Now you're playing just principal chess here. Black can do a million different things. Goes knight d7. Rook e1. Fine. Queen c7. And now you play queen d3. Okay. By the way, I think you're playing good chess here. And now you go for it with this idea with bishop b3. Okay. Okay. Bishop g5. All right, bishop e7 seems soft. And I definitely think knight d5 would be the thing to do here. Yeah. Okay, so this seems soft, and it just screams out some kind of tactic with rook takes e7. Right? That's what it screams out. You took on bishop f6, and that was horrendous. And perhaps that is an example of the kind of positional mistakes that you were talking about. Let's read what you write about bishop f6. Not a great choice, but at least this removes one guard of the king, and I couldn't find a better plan. The black bishop now stares. Okay, the issue is this bishop is horrendous. It's a victim to the rook. Already, things like rook takes e7 are something to think about. Candidate moves here. One of them should be bishop b3. And the very simple point is that now that g6 has happened, it makes sense to say, oh, I'll go back. I'll go back and look at it from the other direction. Queen d2 is also kind of interesting. Knight e5 is interesting. Maybe knight e5, well, either knight e5 or bishop b3, the main candidates with queen g3 ideas. I like bishop b3 best, I think. Okay, so this is terrible because now with that unopposed bishop, we shouldn't think that we can mate it. h4. Boom. Now I think, by the way, a super GM, I would probably play bishop f5, but I think a super GM might not, so as to keep the bishops on the board and to say the bishop on c2 ultimately has to move anyway. But that's next level. Don't like that. c5, rook a d8, rook f e8 make a lot of sense for black. Okay. c5 made more sense to me. Okay, so black's doing fine. Weak. There's not doing anything. And now we blunder a tactic. Now, by the way, I think for your cohort, you're playing great. And so far, I've only seen a couple moves where you miss playing it. Rook e3 is, of course, the kind of thing that will ruin your chess because all of a sudden it's just, well, probably lost, right? I don't know. He's going to have some technique to prove it, but it's lost. Okay. So in this position, rook d3, it doesn't really make any sense, right? What are we doing with rook d3? c4 makes some sense, right? And no one knows what he's doing over here with bishop g7. No one knows. Okay, so rook e3, snip, snap. He misses it! Gambit declined! Gambit declined. Can we just talk a little bit about this? So look, you guys, these people played like a GM level opening to get to this position. And it's equal-ish, you know? GM level, and then they're blundering all over the place. And queen d7, oh my gosh, what are we doing? That must have felt comforting. Okay, good. And the black for the longest time has refused to play c5, and now we should play c4. Good. And now you d5 him. Now, what I want to say about d5 is probably it's fine, but e5 would be a way to really try to hurt him. Okay. C takes d5 would be more aggressive and should be looked at because we're opening the queen and hold options to play e5. Okay. Okay, good, I think. Now you're just running around. You should consider knight c6. Both players are just moving here. Now, one of the most critical things, Dylan, I want to point this out. Remember what I said? I said, I'm going to yell at him if around move 25 or so, he is moving quickly. And that's exactly what happened, right? Exactly what happened. You stopped thinking, and your opponent, you know, well, we'll go back, ends up just losing his mind. Right? Okay. So, couple things. Don't focus on the opening, right? This thing about missing queen takes g3, that is going to be about board visualization. It's the kind of thing that will ruin your game. It will make chess unenjoyable if you don't get a handle on that. And once we get to a position like this is where you stop thinking around here. That is where you need to be like, dude, I got to think here. I got to think, right? Okay, well done, Dylan. We're going to see more of you soon. Norman Tuttle. I knew a guy in college named Dylan Tuttle. This is Norman Tuttle. Next up, we have Boyan. No, we don't. We're done. We did Boyan yesterday. Oh, we're done, my friends. Amazing.